It is finally here, ladies and gentlemen, finally! It's finally come! Dynasty Warriors 9! Yeah, come on! Finally, our favourite hack and slash Tecmo Curry game is back and better than ever. Except it's not. When I actually say this, it's quite true, it's quite possibly the worst Dynasty Warriors game to have come out in like the last decade. I mean, it is so bad it makes me want to gouge my eyes out and then throw them into my Xbox disc tray and just watch them dribble out. That's how bad it is. I don't just make that up on the spot. I haven't got a clue what I'm on about right now. But I'm going to show you guys why. There's some gameplay coming up. I'm going to take you through what I think is good, there's not much that's good, and what can be improved on going further forward into the Dynasty Warriors 9 franchise. Let's hit it up.
My best, I may mumble on because I just get lost in this game sometimes and it really baffles me. I'm going to try and explain everything the best I can. Not Xiao Yun being naked there, I can't explain that. And try and take you through the game and the gameplay and give my verdict, or try to anyway, give my verdict on Dynasty Warriors 9. So without further ado, sit back, watch Xiao Yun kick butt as always in the opening scenes of Dynasty Warriors.
Alright guys, so what I've got for you here is a little snapshot of footage from the Battle of Hulao Gate. That's the Coalition forces versus Dongzhuo's Imperial forces. Dongzhuo's taking control of the capital, and we have to get into Hulao Gate, get into the capital, and defeat Dongzhuo. So what we're going to go through here is not my gripe with the game, but what I think they've done quite well but can be improved on. That is the battle... the combo system, which is new, as you can see working here. That is known as the final attack. What Tecmo Koei have basically done is they've given us a different moveset, kind of. The old days of, you know, smashing X here on your controller, pressing Y, are pretty much gone now. The only thing that you can do is still use your normal 4 attacks, your base attacks, you know, your hack and slash, but then you hold down this little variable here, right bumper, to initiate what you can see right now, which is trigger and charge attacks. What's going on basically? It's the new state combo system, which gives you a chain, which you can actually see in the bottom of your screen down there. Now what you've got is a different variety of moves, which are all specific to different characters. So Cao Cao's, for example, if you were to press X a couple of times and then hit right bumper and then B, that initiates his... Do you remember his attack where he used to do the old ice come down from the sky? That's basically what he does when you do that. So there are different attacks that can help him finish off enemies, stun them with an ice gem, which I've got equipped here, and all sorts of different attacks. You can see these attacks in full motion right here. As you can see, I just activated the X trigger attack, which created a nice ice storm there. And that right there is the finish attack, which basically when your opponent gets to a certain level of health, that enables you to finish them off in one blow. So what we're trying to achieve here is we're trying to break through the main gate in order to get into the capital and take down Dongzhuo. That's used with a siege weapon. Now, we'll come to the battle plan and how you work your character in a minute. This is the map system that they've got. Now this covers the whole of China. This I actually think is quite good because it gives you a lot more in-depth info into what's going on in the battlefield. So I've just seen what I've got to do. I've got to head over to the gate here and take it down and get in to the main city itself. Now what you need to do is, for this specific task, is you need to complete an objective by clearing out the enemies in front of the gate and then also clearing out the objectives, which are fences and a tower which is blocking the siege weapon. So as you can see here, Ice Gem, you can collect all these different types of gems and craft them using money and specific items that have to be collected around the entire map. So there might be herbs, rocks, minerals, things like that that you can put together in order to create these gems, which create ice, I think there's poison, fire, all the different kind of gems. You used to be able to get those on old school Dynasty Warriors where you could equip different ones to give your weapons different powers. So this is what I'm talking about here. We're just going towards the objective now. You still summon your horse with the old whistle using the left bumper. And the horses are brilliant. I mean, one thing I want to credit Tecmo Koei for is the graphics. There's the barriers we've got to get the siege weapon past. The bow and arrow system, I'll come to the graphics in a sec, is great. So what you can do here, bottom left hand of your screen, you've got your health bar as usual, what level you're on, that's level 19 at the moment, your Muso gauge which is in the middle, and your stamina which is at the bottom. I've just laid down some oil pots, which as you can see are pretty cool. It doesn't work on this one, I don't know why, but basically you can fire arrows at them, for which you've got a different variety that I'm about to use here. I think I've got a flame arrow, there you go, fire arrow, and that can make the pots explode. Apparently it doesn't work to take out obstacles. Great gaming there, Gary. But basically the game works pretty much the same way as it used to, just with a couple of additional add-ons and a change in the combo system. Talking of the graphics, I mean, you can clearly see the graphics are simply incredible. My main issue is that this game, I think what they've done is they focused so heavily on the graphics and the open world that they just kind of forgot about everything else, which is quite bad when you consider they've had pretty much 3 years to develop this game. So what you need to do is you need to complete a series of objectives in order to get to the main objective. Now, a lot of people have been saying, oh yeah, but you could just grapple hook over the top of the wall. I know a lot of you are going to be saying that in the comments down below. By the way, let me know what you think of this game down below as well. You can do that, but you remember the morale bar you get on Dynasty Warriors? I think it's on the screen. I can't see, my camera's blocking the screen. Basically, by completing these objectives, your forces gain morale. If I was to go through and just try and kill Dongzhuo straight away, the chances are I'm not going to do it. And I've got this set on hard as well. In order to kill the main boss, if you will, you need to complete other objectives in order to weaken and give yourself a better chance of defeating that boss. So it kind of works. I'm just trying to think. Different scenarios, a bit like old school Dynasty Warriors 4, I suppose is the best one I can think of, where the more morale your forces had, the easier it was to defeat various enemies. So back to the map again here. I can see where Dongzhuo is there in the capital. I'm trying to break through the gate, and it gives you an update on where other players are and where they're based, and where your main base is, which is where that green flashing square is on your screen right now. That's where we've come from. There's a lot of travelling in this game, but as you can see there's fast travel. You can set waypoints as well, and there's also treasure infos, and if you hit various buttons you do get a lot more detail for the map. So what I've done now here, we're heading into night time, something this game is really good at. In time weather condition changing. So basically the game changes and adapts the environment around you based on how long you're taking to complete set missions and where you are and what time of the day it is, and it just goes on from there. There's the famous Muso attack from Dynasty Warriors 5, that one, and a great little finishing move here. I love this. Superb right there. So as you can see, we defeated various enemies, just took out Li Ju there to help our forces get past our siege weapons. Now instead of going through the gate, I've used the grappling hook system to get me over the top and help me defeat Song Jian here, where we're going to see some amazing combo action right here now. Waiting for it. He's blocking. I mean, this, you know, the characters are relatively difficult, but there's that famous finishing move right there. My only issue is it does make the enemy slightly easier to defeat. I'd rather just have to keep chipping away at that health bar. And as you can see there, hold to open the gates. Gates are open. Come on in, buddies. Let's go take out Dongzhuo, that fat pig. So now we've got Guo C. The enemies I did find on this level actually got more difficult the closer you got to Dongzhuo, which is quite nice. And the story progression is quite good, which we'll see in a minute. But really, the state combo system is relatively good. It's unique for every character. Characters have got cloned movesets now. They've got cloned weapons, which isn't good. But at least Kyoei have managed to keep that little bit of uniqueness by having each character having their own different combo system and Muso attacks as well, of course. It also gives you an objective target. You can see there the little scroll flashing up. That's basically how far you've got in order to get to your main priority objective. Some nice finishing moves there from Cao Cao. I'm still playing with Cao Cao at the moment. I reckon I've played about 6 hours on the game, but I've been playing Dynasty Warriors since Dynasty Warriors 3, so I know my way around a Dynasty Warriors game. As you can see there, that finishing move in great action. So my issue is that the frame rate's a little bit slow, depending what console you have. I should think on an Xbox One this console would work really well. But unfortunately I don't have that, I don't have 4K either. And as you can see here, we're about to take on Dongzhuo. The graphics are pretty good. It can be a little bit slow. If you're looking from far away into the distance, you can see your units moving around, different soldiers. It does look a little bit jittery. And some people have quoted on saying it's basically a Dynasty Warriors PUBG is basically how the game works and how the graphics work. This I do like though, the lock-on system. You can actually hold down, I do believe if it's right toggle here, if you push it inwards it helps you to focus on the enemy and you can just take down that enemy. And in case you're wondering, yes, they have kept the right trigger, so right bumper Muso, aerial Muso and normal Muso attacked from previous Dynasty Warriors. So what will happen is when you defeat Dongzhuo here, it will get to a cutscene. And then that takes you on to the next story. So basically you have to complete objectives in order to continue the story. And you're following the story of each character. And there are different situations and scenarios throughout the whole of the Three Kingdoms saga upon which this game is based back in ancient Chinese history, roughly around 180 AD to about 280 AD, there or thereabouts. So as you can see, Yuan Shao, the leader of the coalition forces, congratulating us on completing the objectives. And as you can see, Luoyang, set ablaze by Dongzhuo, infamously burnt the capital city of China to the ground pretty much, after the coalition's forces' victory, in which it retreated to Chang'an, which we're about to see here. And I'm talking a lot in this, guys. I'm trying to cover all the bases I can with little time I've got. So this is my main issue with the game. The gameplay is relatively good, the graphics are fantastic, the open world is pretty good but it could use some work. This is my main issue here, not Diao-chan. She looks stunning as always. The voice actors, they used to have a union voice actor group who would always do the voices for the characters ever since Dynasty Warriors 6 or 7 I think. Probably Dynasty Warriors 7. They're gone. They're basically all American actors who are filling in the different characters. Now I know different people used to voice different characters, but here it's literally, it sounds like the same monotone American people that they have, you know, they're acting different people. But you can hear Lu Bu here, listen to this. It sounds like some dude on a Californian beach surfing, talking to his babe. I mean, even I can do a good Lu Bu impression. Watch this. Ha! Can anybody provide me with a decent challenge? You see what I mean? You've got to have that fire in your belly. I mean, Dongzhuo's dead. How is he not dropping that sword? Yuan Shao's voice is quite funny. Listen to this. Oh, this is Yuan Shu. But basically, that's my gripe, and the cutscenes aren't what they used to be in Dynasty Warriors. I always felt you could build a good emotional attachment to characters and to certain factions, whether that be Wei, Wu, Shu, or Jin, or other. You just don't get that in this game. It just feels a little bit cold, a little bit lackluster. This is Yuan Shi, by the way. Wild Force and Kyoei announced that there are certain characters in the game who aren't playable, but they do have their own specific features. Hua Xiong is one of them, and Yuan Shu, as you can see there. Maybe they'll make them playable in Extreme Legends, or so on and so forth. You see, this is what I'm talking about, the cutscenes. Dynasty Warriors 7, for me, was the best game in regards to the Dynasty Warriors franchise that made an emotional connection to the people who were playing the game. The cutscenes were brilliant, there's a lot of emotion, you could follow the storyline, and it stuck to the storyline pretty well, and the characters you could build a relation to, and everyone had their favourite character. Although the graphics are brilliant, as we can see with Southside, the character designs are really good with their costumes and things like that, and the surroundings are fantastic. The voicing, the music as well for me is slightly less dramatic and less empowering as it used to be. The previous Dynasty Warriors 8 in particular, the music was fantastic. And I don't know, I just get the impression that these are afterthoughts. They haven't gone over these with a fine-tooth comb and looked at a way that they can really develop the storyline using these cutscenes. We've got Shen Gong making an appearance again, introducing Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends. He had his own storyline along with Lu Bu. But you can see with the voicing, Cao Cao isn't too bad, but I feel with other characters, Zhang Liao isn't too bad, one of my favourite characters, but Lu Bu and various other characters, Yue Jin, Li Dian, who we'll pick up in a minute, just don't have that same depth in voice that they used to in other previous Dynasty Warriors editions. You can also tell that the audio syncing with the cutscene isn't brilliant either. I really do think that Kyoei put all of their eggs into one basket on this game. It really went for the open world development. And don't get me wrong, the open world is fantastic. I think it's the way that Dynasty Warriors needs to move on, but in a different area. For me, there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential for this game to develop. I really liked it. The hype was quite big around it. I mean, when you see the opening sequence, like the opening sequence of Zhao Yun, you think, wow, this game's going to be amazing. The graphics look great. You start playing and you think, this is really cool and exciting. This is brand new for Dynasty Warriors. And then it just doesn't hit the note you want it to hit. The biggest gripe for me is the emotional connection between myself and the game. Not the gameplay itself, it's pretty good, don't get me wrong. But what I think they need to do is for Extreme Legends, they really need to go back, reanalyze the cutscenes, make them a little bit more connected to the game, bring back some characters' weapons. There are a few weapons that they took away which people were livid with. Yue Jin's twin hooks, I miss. Sun Tzu's Tomfers, I mean, come on, how could you get rid of those? It's a joke. What I do believe though, and this is what I talk about, room for improvement, the open world situation could be fantastic for Dynasty Warriors Empires. The ability to build your faction around the world that you're in by defeating enemies and building bases, I think that could be great on open world. And I really look forward to when they do, if they hopefully do, an Empires version, because that is the game that they're gonna get the best out of the open world. For me, with the standard entry to the series, they should have just stuck with the original timeline and get people involved. Get them following the storyline. They've even brought back, I haven't got any clips of it, but they've even brought back the narrator who would narrate between various battles and give you info and fill you in on the storyline of the Three Kingdoms, which was great. That's probably asking a lot of Tecmo Koei to make a game that's based timeline based with stages like they used to and have an open world. I mean, that took a lot of resources and a lot of money, but you fear that they've spent a lot of money on this game and not really got anywhere either. So we're kind of we're lacking a lot and asking a lot of Tecmo Koei here, and I'm really struggling to give this game a solid review. I just feel like this is their first attempt. This version of Tecmo Koei, this brand to do Dynasty Warriors, it's their first crack at open world. It's not too shabby. But like I said, I think there's ways that they could improve and going forward into further installments in the Dynasty Warriors 9 franchise. We can just take a moment though, just to praise the overall graphics of the open world. I mean, you really do feel immersed, particularly when you're in a city like this. This is Zhuchang, by the way. And Zhuchang is fantastic, and you really do feel immersed in a city and your base. You can interact with various people, you can buy things, which I'll show you in a second. You can interact with characters, and you can fulfill little tasks as well that will earn you treasures, earn you experience points, or even potentially make future battles easier on you. Which do tend to be, I must add, quite far away from where you are. You can decide to travel, you can walk, run, swim, climb, whatever you want to do. Every part of the map is accessible, but I'd really recommend you using the fast travel option on the start screen. Otherwise you'll find yourself spending best part of 15-20 minutes just travelling somewhere by horse. No one wants to do that. And the battles aren't really that big either. I mean, the battle we just saw was relatively big, but they're not all about on the same scale. And you'll find yourself spending 5 minutes fighting enemies and more time travelling if you don't use the fast travel option. But even then you feel like I've done this and I'm not really getting the most out of it. Don't worry, I'm not going to shoot my own man. And yes, as you'll see, I do set something on fire. Not a good thing. No, not a good thing. You see what I mean? Interacting with people. And on your mini-map as well, will give you various people who you can talk to, gain information about future battles. I think I'm going to check out in just a second. Here we go. So you've got a peasant who's talking about what's going on in the local area, and you get good updates about that as well. And that kind of leads on because the next battle in this timeline for South Sao is when the Chang tribe of the Yellow Turbans seek to invade Yu province. So this is what they've added. You've got different options. You've got blacksmith, shopkeeper, tea house, stable master where you can buy horses from. All of these items you can purchase as long as you've gained the gold, and then you also need to have on your crafting table, which I'll show you in a second, your crafting table, you need to collect the necessary items in order to build and make these different types of items. So you need all the minerals and the materials which you can gain just out on the open world. You can find anything from ginseng to emeralds and things like that. And of course they all cost money. But that lube room pressure really took it out of me. So you can see here, you go through all the different items you can buy, and it does say materials required in order to craft these items. So I'm going to go for vitality powder, which increases your health. You can simply activate it during battle and increase your health there. And spirit powder as well, which increases your attack. And now we're coming to a blacksmith. So blacksmith, you can build any weapon, you can craft any weapon, and you can combine those weapons with any character. Of course, different weapons suit different characters given their playing style, different gems that they have attached to their weapons. So here I'm going to buy an upgraded version of Cao Cao's Iron Blade, which looks fairly similar to his previous weapon. And I can add on a new gem, which I think I'm going to do, which increases the attack of my weapon. I think the attention to detail, Tecmo Koei have really paid close attention to detail in the open world. Just the way the characters move, the horses move, different enemies move and what they were doing. I think we saw earlier on 2 enemy soldiers loading a catapult. That's fantastic. I love that. That's brilliant. And the different weather changes, how they can affect the environment around you when it comes to attacking enemies and things like that. And it just truly is fantastic to see. So I've tried to sum up the best I can. So what I'm going to go is I'm going to give them a quick rating. So what I'm going to go for is graphics and gameplay. I'm going to give out of 10. I'm going to give a solid 8, mostly for the graphics. Cutscenes, voice acting, etc. I'm going to give a 3 because I think they generally are poor. I found this a bit difficult actually. I can't really give much of a rating. You know what, scrap that. I'm not going to rate individual things. I'm just going to give this game overall as a whole on what I've played so far and with the possibility it's got going forward. I'm going to give this game a 6. I've played worse Dynasty Warriors games. Dynasty Warriors 6 I think is still worse than this, but we're going to leave it there. Dynasty Warriors 9, a slight letdown, but I think we could see a better game in the future in further installments of Dynasty Warriors 9. But thank you so much for watching anyway, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you again in more videos in the future, now that my internet is finally back up and running. So thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'm signing off, and I'll catch you in the future.